welcome to part 2 of our caravan walkthrough.
Yeah, welcome back.
So this is a Zone RV Sojourn Pioneer Spec Family Bunk van and it's 21 foot.
It's a bit of a mouthful,
Yeah,
isn't
it really is. I'm still getting used to the name. I used to have the old one just run off our tongue sort of thing. But yeah, so that's what the van is. When we go inside as well, anything you see, I just want you to keep in mind that there is nothing in here that is custom. This is everything that Zone can provide you.
There's a really cool sort of feature on the website of Zone RV where it's a configurator. So you can basically go through from the very bottom of the chassis and work your way right through the van, right to the top of the roof for solar and stuff, and just really pick and choose what you want. And I must admit, when I first seen this website, it was probably one of the best layouts, not being biased, one of the best layouts I've seen, because a big part for me that was really outstanding was for each thing that you choose on that website, everything has a weight next to it.
And a price.
And a price. Like, that made it so easy, and it was really good to know that you had that knowledge just going through the bill, because you can go through, say, half a dozen things and you're checking your weight as it's adding up. So it's like a little calculator on the side adding it all up, and you're thinking, oh, I've got 2 more options here.
Ooh, do I do it? Do I not?
We're a little heavy. We might go back through and change a couple of things to save some weight.
There's options on there as well where you can reduce your weight. So things like your cupboard fronts, you can actually have a lightweight composite instead of the standard ones, which saved, I think it was 31 kilos off the top of my head.
Yeah.
So on that configurator, we went through and we chose our weights, we chose our prices, we did everything that we thought was going to suit our setup best. And from that, this is basically where we were at. So the van we're going to give you a tour of today, as of today in September 2022, it's valued at a little over $175,000. So you can do this build as well on the website and have all the exact same pricing.
You can have this exact van for the same price.
Nothing's custom.
Nothing's custom. Nothing's special.
Which is crazy, and it's the van we chose. Like, what?
Yeah.
But the other thing it tells you as well is your weight. So the weight on the configurator came in at 2.956 kilos, which is what, 2.95 ton, basically. And then obviously when the van was completely finished, they give you your tear weights and things. So the actual weight of the van, with all the same configurations we chose, ended up being 2.827, so 2.82 ton. So yeah, it's actually like quite a weight reduction compared to what we thought it was going to be. But at the end of this month, end of September that is, we're actually getting our weights done professionally. So we're going for a couple of weeks touring just to finish out our setup, make sure it's about right, get our weights done. We will have an episode on that and we'll show you exactly what happens the whole way through. You'll be able to watch the weights with us, feel nervous with us, and hope that everything's legal.
No, we'll be right. We'll be right.
We're not changing cars. That's another thing.
No, yeah, we've been smashed a few times and saying, well, now you got a van, are you going to upgrade the car? Is it going to tow? Is it going to do this? But
we love the 62.
Yeah, I think we're going to be good. I think we're going to be probably better than what we expected. I'm hoping, from what I've seen and sort of put together. So it means that even more reason to keep the car, because we do love the car. I'd be sad to see it go. I know a lot of people are trending through cars and upgrading things at the moment. It doesn't faze me. Like, we've got a car that does everything. That's all that matters.
We love it.
We love it. So, no, there won't be any upgrades. And if anything, I hope that this will...
If there's an upgrade, we don't know about it yet either. I'll put it that way.
Yeah, but I'm hoping that this will showcase what Zone does and how they build vans, and helps within the weight side of things, because they have done a lot of things in these vans and the material they use and all this sort of stuff to really bring that weight down.
And the way they position the weights as well.
Yeah, so I'm really curious to see how that all pans out now with all our gear in there and having the patrol as well, and sort of just seeing how it all comes together. So yeah. So
at this point we're going to take you into the caravan. The first thing I want to show you though before we go into the caravan, which seems probably a bit strange, but if you're a caravanner you understand. So apart from this key ring, that is
all the keys we own.
The keys for this caravan.
The whole caravan.
Front door, every hatch, toolbox, every padlock. 4 keys.
Absolutely insane. If you know caravanning and you've got probably a big set of keys like most do, how satisfying that is to have 4 keys. It does the whole van. It's so insane. Good. So yeah, I thought we'd show you that real quick, but all right, without further ado, let's go.
Let's get into it.
Let's get in.
I just want to mention the door. As you know, the door for us in our old van was like a never-ending issue with dust and things like that. This is no longer a problem. There is such a good seal around this door. And the other thing as well, you remember we used to tape our vent holes? We don't have that anymore. So Zone have actually figured out a way to get around the gas problem. We obviously have gas on board. You've seen that last episode, but we don't need this anymore, which I think is really cool. So anyone who has an RV has probably seen these doors before. But pretty much you've got a separator here to have your glass panel, which goes back. And then this is actually crimp safe. So you're completely safe. You can have that open, you've got your airflow, and you're safe. Like, it's just, I'm really, really happy about it. You have no idea. And locking it as well is as simple as clicking this over. It's just, it's a real novelty for us because this is something we just didn't have before. But anyway, no further ado, let's go inside. Hello, welcome to our caravan. So I'm going to do pretty much what I did last time and just walk you around the whole caravan, start from one end and we'll work our way through and give you a tour. So let's start in the bedroom. Pretty much Chris and I's area. Chris is on the far side, I'm over here. So we have two wardrobes on either side. They're exactly the same with the shelving. There is actually a bar in here as well, so you can change it to hanging space. All of these shelves all come out if you want to, but for a change I've opted to go for shelving because I feel like I can get more clothes in there. Typical female, right? And then up here I've got all my shirts and things, so you've basically got a his and hers overhead locker as well. Now down behind the bed here as well, a really, really cool design that Zone have done. We didn't even know about this because on the display van they had all the pillows there, and so we hadn't seen it, but they've actually got a little storage nook in there. So I'll put some footage over now. You can see in there there's two 240 points and there's also USB points and a little bench space there, and that's made of like the same composite mix that they use for your bench tops as well. So that's really, really cool. That's been super handy. The other really cool thing that they've got here, it's called a foot locker. So let me show you a foot locker. So it doesn't look like much at the moment, but what's underneath here is called a foot locker, which I am like super impressed by. I think one of the things that everyone has problems with in a caravan is where to put your shoes. Where do you put your shoes? So they've actually got this on both sides of the bed. You ready? Ta-da! It's all our footwear. Like, obviously we don't have a lot of shoes. We've always traveled quite light. We're normally in either thongs or our A-liters. We've gained a couple more now, being city slickers for a few months in a sense, but otherwise, like, this is now our shoe storage area, so we don't have to leave them outside in the weather or worry about anything like that. So this has become that. The one on the other side of the bed we're actually using now for like admin and documents and paper and stuff like that, because it's stuff that we need but we don't need often, but I need it to be easily accessible. So yeah, this is just a really great idea. I don't know why more caravans don't do this. The only thing we found is obviously this bit of floor is slightly higher than the rest of the floor, so when you're up next to the bed you are higher, but they've also put the bed higher as well, so you've then got more storage underneath. For us, standing on here, I'm 168 centimeters tall and I don't touch the roof still. So if you're short like us, then it's not an issue, but maybe if you're a little bit taller, you might have to just whoop into bed. This is our under bed storage area. We no longer have a battery system under here, a combi water heater, nothing at all. It's just pure storage. And like I said, because those foot lockers are higher, the bed's slightly higher, so you've got a lot of storage. And we basically, to fill you in now, everything that's in this caravan is pretty much what we had from our last caravan. We've either upgraded something, for example the coffee machine, which you'll see soon. So we've still got the same amount of things, nothing's really changed, just the storage capacity and where you put things has changed, and the layout of the van has changed. So yeah, this is kind of our junk area at the moment. It's all the stuff that I'm not really sure what to do with, or things that I'm not sure if we're going to keep. Some of them we are keeping, some of them we're not. Yeah, but it's just so big. I'm so happy with this. The other thing, while we're down at this end of the caravan, I said to you before about the door not needing the gas vents anymore, and this is Zone RV's idea to work around that so that they can have an RV style door. So this vent here actually comes off. There's 2 holes in the floor, so there's one on this side and one on the other side of the bed, and they both have these screw-in caps that then seal off. So when you're traveling, you have these on, and the van is completely sealed, so there's no airflow into here whatsoever. But if you're stopping and you're planning on cooking or using any form of gas, you have to remove these for your van to be legal, basically. So we found we've just left them out all the time, and we've actually got a roof fan, which you'll see shortly, and what happens is airflow comes up through these holes and then out through the roof, and it's just this constant airflow. So even overnight you can actually have them open with the roof with the roof open, sucking out the air, and it's enough to keep it like airy in here, but you can still have the security of keeping all your windows closed. So probably the final thing just to mention in this area, Chris's cupboards are identical. He has the same thing on his side as what I have, and then he also has a foot locker down there. And the last thing is our windows. So we've actually got 2 different types of windows. On Chris's side, he's got a really big window. Like, it's massive. It's much larger than the one that we used to have next to our bed in the old van. Like, they've really tried to maximize the space that the windows take up within this caravan, and that's just an example of that. But on the other side as well, you've got a style where it's got the 2 smaller windows, which I've really been loving, because what we do overnight, we tend to leave the top one open and you can have airflow come through, but you still have your security and you can still have that air coming into the caravan. And the bottom one, you can just shut the blind and no one can see anything. It's actually a really great setup. I was unsure how I would feel about having 2 windows on that side, but it's been awesome. So while we're talking about windows, something I want to show you with these, which I thought was really, really cool. Not only have you got your block out blinds, which by the way, don't spring back. They can sit anywhere. You've also got midgie proof fly screens. So they have like a real big seal around this outside. I can actually see it from here. There's a seal there. You're not going to get any bugs in. I am like super excited about that. Unfortunately, the front door is not the same, being crimp safe. That's not going to be midgie proof. But because all the windows are, you can open this van up entirely and still have that midgie proof experience. So obviously, most windows have the click function, so you've got different levels to keep it at. But what I'm loving about this is in these little clips here, you can see there's like 2 levels to it sort of thing. There's a gap there. So you can actually do it like a half click there and do it all the way around. And there's air still coming through. So it's open by probably, well, my fingers. So about that depth wide. And there's still a breeze coming through there. It's really cool. But you've got the security then that like no one can get in the window when you've done all 3 of them at that point. So that's just awesome. I've done this a lot overnight. And it makes you feel secure. Like, obviously nothing is going to get in because that window is sealed. However, you've still got your breeze. With your midgie proof mesh, of course, because you wouldn't want to have it open during the night. Imagine the things that might come in. But yeah, and then they're button clicks. So you button click them to unlock them. They don't just move easily. Jack hasn't figured this out yet, which I'm actually quite happy about. And when you want to close them, you bring it past both points. And then you're well sealed and dust free. One of the other things I wanted to mention to you as well, in this van we've opted to go with Sirocco fans again. We absolutely love them. I've had a few people through the past, they'll say they make a few noises, or you know, there's things that they don't like about them. I really don't know what they're on about. Like, we have always loved the Siroccos. We had them in the last van and we were not going to go without them this time. We have chosen to go black though, because when you start doing things like Cape and Gibb River and things where there's a lot of dirt and dust, although this is a dust-free van, there is still going to be some that probably comes through the windows and that, and you know, just the dust that you create on a fan anyway. And we found sometimes they would stain a little bit on the white ones because we did so much of it. So we've opted for black this time. I've been told by a couple of people that you still get a couple of marks on these ones, but it's a different sort of marking. So I'll let you know how the life of them go as we go. While you're there as well, we also have overhead storage on this side. So this side in particular has no shelving in between it. It is only big open spaces. However, they've done shelving on the other side that I'll show you soon. So we've just packed all our food in here, really. I mean, there's two massive spaces to use to pack whatever you need in there. This little bar here works not only as a lip to stop things coming out, but it's also aluminium. And the way a Zone is built, they use their cupboards and the internal work within their build to actually support the frame and the whole body of the caravan. So this little bar here is actually aluminium, and this has been tested to the point, basically we've been told it takes 350 kilos. So you can store cans up here if you want. You could probably hang on here. I can't see much movement. Like, I don't want to do it just in case though, but it feels wrong. I'm not used to being able to put heavy things up there. But gone are the days where you can't put up, you know, 2 or 3 kilos of rice and a heap of cans and, you know, just anything that's weighty basically. So I've stacked everything away in here. We've got everything and anything. I haven't held back. Okay, so underneath as well, we've got our lounge area, I guess you could say. So this is a chase lounge, which is an L shape. They did do a cafe style, I think, as well. I think it was just the cafe. I can't really remember because we were always set on doing this design, because this works really well with us with the kids. You usually have one child, one person, and then you use the bed. However, the bed's so high now, I'm not actually sure how we'll make that work. Oh, no, you know what? This is longer. It's much longer than our old van. So we will be able to make it work. There you go. I just figured that out with you guys. But anyway, so we've gone with the PU leather option, which is non-genuine leather. Not because we didn't want real leather, but just because we've got kids, and kids make everything... You know what kids are like. I don't even know what else I can say there. Like, I give Jack some watermelon here, and before you know it, it's halfway up the side of the wall, and I end up cleaning the whole lounge area just because he had some watermelon. So we opted for this type of sofa just because it's easy to clean. The leather version has diamond printing on it, which then means there's stitch work and whatnot. It looks amazing, don't get me wrong. If we were without kids, I definitely would have gone for it. But on this case, we went for the non-genuine leather. Behind, we've got our little panel as well. I didn't opt to have any of these throughout the caravan, apart from this one, which comes with it standard. We had a similar setup. We used to keep our maps in there, so I've done the same. We didn't really use these to store much in general, so I'm happy having one, but I didn't want them throughout the van. And finally, we've also got our little heater here. So this is what our diesel tank on the front of the caravan is for. It's for our diesel heater, so that's underneath the sofa. Down here is one of the outlets. There's an inlet under the sofa here, and then in the bathroom there's actually another outlet. So the couple of mornings, it's obviously not that cold anymore, but the couple of mornings we have tried it, we've put it on, and the bathroom is like steaming hot. So one of the things that Zone suggested you use it for is a drying room, which is a great idea. If you've got a few things, you could actually hang it across your bathroom and stuff, chuck on the heater in there and just get it dry. Use your exhaust fan in the bathroom to get all that extra hot air and moisture out as well. And we've never had a diesel heater before, so we don't really know what to expect yet, but the couple of times we've used it so far, like, it's really good. It's been amazing. The other thing that's under here is the Fusion speaker, which goes with our Fusion sound system. And this one here is a gas monitor, so that's for if there's any gas leaks, it will pick up on that. And finally, we've also got a telescopic table. So we had a similar setup in the old caravan, but it wasn't this version. I guess it was like, it just wasn't quite as technical. This one here, you can click the button and you can basically move it around in circles. There's no particular one way you can do it, whereas our previous one was back and forward and right and left. So that's been really cool, and it comes down really low, this table. It comes to the sofa height. You can actually get an extra piece to put here too, to use this as a bed, if that's what you need. So yeah, been loving this one so far. Let's move on under the sofa and have a look at our heater and have a look at our battery system. So just to give you a quick look underneath the sofa, this is the Webasto diesel heater. I'm not entirely sure on the model. I'll put the details down the bottom, but as you can see, it's got a Y junction in it. So we've got one port that goes into the living area and then one port that goes through behind here and goes into the bathroom. And then over here we have our airbag man compressor, which is for all our onboard air, which Chris had shown you last episode. There is an air port inside, and we've actually got one on the outside, which we didn't show you. So we might show you that in a minute. This second compartment here was actually really cool. Our challenge pack for all our chili sauces and stuff fits in there really well. So that's there. So we've also got our winter bag under here. It's not something we need to access very often. This is like, we've already got some stuff out, but we don't need much. So a lot of it's in here. The only thing that runs through there is one heater line, which is fine. Other than that, there's nothing in there. So that's just a pure storage space. So we put them in there because we don't need them very often. Finally, the last portion of the sofa is where our batteries are kept. So in here, we've got 600 amp hours of lithium battery. We'll tell you about the solar and the battery and how it all links together towards the end of this episode when we get back to the Red Vision Manager, because we can show you kind of how we access it all. But pretty much there's 600 amp hours of battery. We've got 1,060 watts of solar, and at any time we can use the BMS 30 as well as a DC-DC charger to bring power in at the same time. So our system has been split so we can maximize what we bring in. And we're lucky to get off floating, to give you the basics. But we'll talk about it more when we get there. In the corner here, we've also got just our main isolator switches. So in the scenario that we were putting this van into storage, you would just isolate your batteries entirely to off. And between whether you're off-grid and using your inverter or going on-grid and using mains, there's one button here that you just need to click across. We're running on inverter at the moment because we're off-grid. But yeah, if we try to plug in, we would click this mains button. And on that note, something I want to tell you, you're actually aiming to do 12 months off-grid and not plug in. That is our goal. We may be being adventurous, we may be able to do it, I'm really not sure at this stage, but 12 months, we don't want to use our mains input out there once. We don't want any generators, we're not going to go to a powered site. Obviously we're still going to need to fill up on water, but we want to run completely off this battery system and the solar and be self-sufficient, because that's a big part of what we wanted to be able to do in this van, is completely just go anywhere and know that everything we need is within this van. We don't need power, we just need water. That's the only external thing that has to come into this van at any time. Alright, welcome to the kitchen. This is like, I don't even know what to say about how happy I am about this. Like, as you know, we came from a van where our kitchen was on the other side of the van. It didn't have a lot of bench space. It was taken up by sink, it was taken up by a coffee machine, it was taken up by the drain a bit. What else was there? Oh, there was a pole thing, which is where our TV sat, which came out so far that it only gave us a small bit of bench space, which was also segregated off. So bench space to us was something we just never had. We were always using our table, like our dining table, for extra space, or, you know, just piling things on top of each other. It was just unrealistic. So now we've got this kitchen where we've just got like space and so much of it. So pretty much starting along, I'll show you up here first. We've got our overhead storage. In here, this is kind of your data cupboard as well. So if you're going to put a Wi-Fi or internet in here, this is where it's going to live. At the moment, we've got some of our accessories and things. It's kind of what we used to do in the cupboard in the old Caravan as well. Haven't really finalized what to do with this one yet, so that's coming. And then over here, what they've done, they've actually permanently shelved in 2 shelves in this side. And I really like this because I've always bought the extra pieces to go into the cupboards so that you have those 2 extra shelves. So instantly you've already got that. One of the things we're changing with our van this time around, we're going completely chemical free. So our goal is to be able to live entirely off grid and be totally chemical free. That comes down to like cleaning chemicals, things you'd use for your bathroom, like sprays, deodorants, like aluminiums, plastics. Like, we're trying to get rid of a lot of those things out of our day-to-day life as much as possible. So one of the things that we've actually done here, we've gone with a different plate set to what we used to use. And the reason being is these are eco-friendly, they're compostable, they're plant-based. You can't ask for much better things for the environment. And in saying that too, a lot of the plastic plates that you get these days, even some of the bamboo ones, you put them in the microwave and they warp. You can't put them in a dishwasher. Obviously, we don't have a dishwasher, so that doesn't matter. But from the microwaving side of things, it does. And these are safe to go in there as well. But in the scenario that we're done with them, they can go in a compost. and they disappear. Like, how good is that? That you're actually looking after the environment. Yeah, really happy about this. They're from a company called Daisy Grays. They're Australian based as well. The owners are Australian. They also enjoy caravanning and camping and that. So it's really cool to be working with someone who has the same passions as us and can also support us in our chemical-free sustainability lifestyle. Alright, so moving on from that, we've got, as I said, so much bench space. So this here, nothing is living in this area. This is just a space where we can put anything we want here. We've actually got a pre-made chopping board here, which is the shape of the sink. So we've gone and put this over the top of the sink. So that then increases your bench space as well when you're not using your sink area. I think that's a really cool item to have. But then obviously if you don't need it, you can move it out of the way and you've got your sink there. So it's a really nice deep sink, nice and square. It's really good for storage when traveling as well. So we have moved around a bit now, and similar to the last van, I still use my sink to put things away. So our Magic K8 machine as well, this ends up in the sink, along with a few of the things that can't basically stay on the bench. I mean, I've got like my doTERRA set up here and plants, like I need to move them, so they end up living in this sink. So while I'm here, I just really want to touch on this Enagic machine. As you know, we've had it now for some months. We haven't said a lot about it, but it's still here. So we have found, for us personally, we just feel amazing with this water. I know it sounds crazy, but it's really good. The other thing it's also done for us, it's allowing us to stay chemical free. So we're not having to buy other products. We don't have, you know, a drawer full of chemicals anymore. That's all gone. So we're saving money in that regard. It's also allowing us to make an income on the road. So if that's something you're interested in, you can send us a message and learn more about that. But for now, we'll continue with the caravan tour and on to the cooker. So over here, a lot of people have decided to go completely gas free. Some people have decided to keep some form of gas, and we've decided to go somewhere in the middle, basically. I personally love gas cooktops, and when we built a home back before caravanning, we had a full gas cooker with 5 gas tops, and I just love that you have instant cool and heat and what you need. Obviously they do protrude a bit more, they're in the way in a sense on a bench top like this, but we've only opted for 2 because it was very, very rare that we ever used more than 2 stove tops at one time. We do also have the option here to use the induction cooker, and I've tried this now a number of times and it's actually really cool. It's just not the same as gas. Like, gas heats up the caravan, you know, like if you want to warm it up in here on a cool night, gas is really great to cook on. However, this one here, I cooked up a few meals and I found that in here it was still really cool, although all the food was cooking. So pros and cons, obviously the induction is going to take more power than what the gas does. And the gas means that then you've got regulations to meet, but it's just each their own. I personally don't think the caravan market is at a point where you can completely get rid of gas yet. You need it. Like, there's so many different little things in a caravan you need it for. Even your barbecuing outside, that's gas. Like, you can't have everything electric yet, but there's definitely a place for induction cooking. So half and half. It also means we've got usable bench space here if we need it. And so far it's working really well. So if I find any more out along the way about this, and if I feel any different, I'll let you know basically where we're at. Finally, over in the corner here, there's a few things going on. We've still opted to go with a microwave. We don't use it anywhere near as much as we used to. So when Jack was a baby, we'd use it to warm up bottles. We'd use it for sterilizing, things like that. But now we tend to just use it to reheat food. But we've been eating a lot more fresh food these days, so there's not as much reheating to be done, but it is handy to have. There is a time and a place for a microwave, and it does happen. So I'm really glad we've got that, and we have the power to be able to use it. Then down here as well, we've opted for a new coffee machine. So yes, to anyone out there that has something to say about this, we've become proper coffee snobs. We love our Caravan Farm coffee, and we absolutely love having a completely manual machine. It has been the best change. Like, we've come home for a 3-month period, and one of the things that we've been loving about our day-to-day routine is our coffee. And just Caravan Farm coffee, I can't say enough about them. They're amazing, and we make our own, and it's just delicious. And then we started going to places like Zaraffa's, we've been to Starbucks, we've been to Coffee Club, you know, even the Macca's drive-through one, and some of them have premium beans and all these things, and like Chris and I, it ends up like we have a mouthful and I'm like, I just really want a Caravan Farm coffee. So yeah, proper coffee snobs. This is the new machine. It's a Breville Barista Impress in sea salt. So we opted for the white so that it basically blends in with the kitchen. So that's the sea salt colouring. The only issue with having a big coffee machine like this is obviously it needs to live somewhere when you're travelling around. It can't just stay there, especially with some of the places we go off-road. So when we were at Zone, we asked them if we could get a few pieces of this benchtop material. And Chris has actually formed out these little shaped pieces here, and we siliconed them into place with a silicone glue and put some foam on the inside. So it is proper wedged in that corner. It is not going anywhere at all. That's a permanent feature on our kitchen bench going forward. So over here we've got one final bit. This clock is from our old van. It has fallen off the wall in the old van. I don't even know how many times. I'm hoping it's not going to do it in this van as well. It's well stuck on there this time, but we cannot find anything that's quite like it, and I cannot find this one anymore. So it is like an antique relic that no one has except for us. So if you want to ask me about this clock, it's a degree clock. I don't know where you can get it. I'm really sorry. That's probably the only product in this van which you won't be able to get somewhere. Everything is from Kmart, Bunnings, Howard Storage, and Big W. That's the 4 places that I've shopped for absolutely everything, because I know you guys are going to hassle me with where things are from. But that's the antique. So yeah, here I've popped in a bench. We basically got our plants and all our like stylish stuff. I'm trying to be a bit more mod-con. It's been really nice to have a new feeling van with all these white walls. It's just so spacious in here, and there's room to add colours in and just really like make it a home. The last one being our first van, obviously we didn't do as much of this, and I think it's just that we were still learning what was good for us, whereas now we're really building a home on wheels. So it's a different experience this time around. So it's very homely. Our doTERRA oils, we do use doTERRA as well. So along with the water and the essential oils, that's pretty much our cleaning, our facial regime, our soaps, it's everything that we do. So yeah, that's life for us now, and we'll tell you more about that along the way as we go. The other thing too, if you're wondering about this shelf, was it here before, was it not? This is actually by Fusion Lock. So you've probably seen it in plenty of vans now. Fusion Lock is a pretty standard product within vans. As long as you've got a smooth wall to attach it to, you can attach them to anywhere. So we've only got one out here, but when we get into the bathroom, you'll see we've like Fusion locked the bathroom. You'll see soon. One of the things that I wasn't entirely sure about in this kitchen was the fact that there were so many drawers. So everything is a drawer except for this one here, which is cupboard space. And I kind of wondered how I was going to pack it all in. But now that I've got drawers and I filled them up, drawers are amazing. I just want you to know that. So it's everything. It's our kitchen gear, it's our utensils, it's all our cutlery. So we've been able to make it feel like a normal home. It's honestly like a normal house. It's everything you would expect. Soft closed drawers as well, which has been really nice. Over here I've been able to do a pots and pans drawer. So we've got pots, pans. The other thing that I've done, there's hidden power points underneath here which power the inverter, and I've actually put our vacuum cleaner in this drawer. So at any time we can access this and vacuum. Another product that we get heaps of questions about, you can get this in Harvey Norman. It's a Shark vacuum cleaner. It is by far the best dust buster like vacuum I've ever had, and I would never change it. That's a really big call, but I actually mean that. This is like the best vacuum cleaner you'll ever own in a caravan, ever. Hands down. You do not need a Dyson up against your wall if you've got one of these. Then on the furthest side here, again, it's just more storage. So we've brought a couple of appliances. Our handy rice cooker that we've been using for since day dot, that's actually from the house. We've actually brought a sandwich press along this time, which is something we didn't have just due to power and space, and something I said to Chris, sorry you can't have, sorry babe. But we've got that now because we can. And then in here, this is kind of our herbs and spices and things, all of our teas and coffees and sauces and stuff. And again, these are so good for just their weight bearing, and they soft close, they click themselves shut, everything is safe. We no longer have to have latches on things because of Jack. We don't have to have latches because things are going to pop open on us. It's just like a dream kitchen on the road. I cannot tell you how happy I am to have this kitchen space and be able to have what we really, really wanted in the beginning and weren't able to do because of COVID. And we initially bought someone else's van. So to be able to do one our way this time and have the kitchen, and even to be able to have the kitchen here and out looking over the awning side and that outdoor kitchen that's there, like Chris and I can work together and cook meals together, and one inside, one outside. It's just amazing. We are so grateful to be in this van and be able to show this to you and just use it to make content and take you around Australia. But yeah, let's move on. I want to have a quick look at the roof and then we'll move down to the fridge and the bathroom. Alright, so up on the roof, I just wanted to touch on a couple of things up here because this is again very different for us. We always spoke about getting a caravan in the last caravan. Obviously this isn't a caravan, but it works in a similar manner. However, you don't need to put it on when you're driving, basically, because the van is so sealed shut that you don't need to cause it to be pressurized. So this is the same in a sense that you can have it open and have it draw air out, and so that you can bring some cool air in from your windows and just really keep temperature control in here. So the other thing that's really cool about this, it actually has a hole to set 26 degrees. So you can click this here and it's like an auto mode. So once you turn this on, it's pretty cool in here. What's it say? 23.8 degrees. So technically you should be able to click on and it's going to shut for you, because right now it doesn't need to be on. But by having that auto mode on, if it gets over 26 degrees in here, it will open, it'll turn that fan on, it'll get you to 26 degrees and then shut itself off again. So that's a really cool feature if you're out and about and you've got all of your windows shut for security, and you still want to be able to keep it reasonable temperature in here so you get back and it's not crazy. You can turn that mode on and it'll do it for you while you're out. It's completely weatherproof as well, so you can have this open in the biggest storm, still extracting air, and it's not going to get you wet. And it's completely automatic, so everything's by button. I didn't want to talk over the sound so you can't hear me. But we pretty much just leave this on all the time. This is, there you go, on the lowest setting, all the time. It's just always on. All right, moving on as well. So we've got two different types of lighting within this van. We've got all the strip LED lighting that goes around the outside, and then we've also got all these center lights. So these center lights are actually touch. So you've got your blue settings for night, and then you got your white settings for during the day or whenever you need it. So when we get to the Redarc system, I will show it to you, but there's an app where you can control everything. And again, you've got two different styles. You've got your overhead lighting, which is your strip lighting, and you've got your roof lights. So you can control everything in this caravan from your phone or from the actual unit next to the kitchen. It's really cool. The other thing I'll mention while we're here, we've actually got two of these on the roof. There's one here and one above the front door. The one near the front door, I believe, is for smoke, and this one here is for CO2, or it might be the other way around. But there's little, alarms in here for everything that can go wrong in a sense, but gas, CO2 and smoke all covered. Final thing on the roof here as well, we've opted to go with an air conditioner. So this is the Truma Aventa. I'm still learning all my names. It does hot, it does cold, it does run off grid and off the inverter. We've turned it on a couple times just to try it, but we haven't tested it enough to figure out if it's loud or quiet or really working or really not, and the power draw so much. So we will tell you more about that as we go through the series and we actually get to give it a go. But in the meantime, I mean, can't fault it. And we figured out as well, it's got like a lighting setting on it, so you can actually turn on two strip lights here on either side even without having the air conditioning on, and it's really good mood lighting. So yeah, fun fact about the Truma Aventa. So the final thing for the kitchen that I've got to show you is the fridge. So I really love what Zone's done here. They've actually thought this through. There's a whole family living in this caravan, which means that you need fridge space. So this is a 274 litre fridge. It's a 200 litre fridge and 74 litre freezer. So the fridge alone, honestly, I remember when I first opened it, I don't know what you can see there. Here's all our food, by the way. But the fridge alone is just massive. Even the crispers down the bottom, we always have a lot of fresh stuff. There's just more room in there. There's more shelving space. It's massive. I am so super stoked with that. And the freezer as well is just, again, massive. So this loaf of bread, for example, that used to be around about where our level would be, and then I could get maybe one more loaf of bread. So I've pretty much gained like a whole extra shelf, which is crazy when you think about it, that we're in a caravan and we've gained that. But it's really good for us as a family to be able to have access to that size fridge as well. From a power perspective, in the old caravan, we only had 200 amp hours battery, and our fridge was our main draw. So sometimes overnight, the fridge could use 50% of the battery, being just a two-way fridge. This one here so far, it's really not that bad. I couldn't tell you too many specifics, but it feels like it's not using as much power as what the other one is. You know, we're not draining our batteries overnight just trying to keep our fridge cold. So I don't know, it might be a Dometic Thetford thing, it might just be because of the size of the fridge, but again, we'll tell you more about that as we know. The other thing too, they've really moved this fridge up, so it's using all the space right to the roof, which I really like because everything's really accessible and in front of you. And underneath the fridge is actually part of the power system. So where Chris showed you that hatch where all of the Redarc system is, underneath here there is actually a hatch where you can get in there, and that's where the 3000 watt inverter is. You've got a couple of kill switches in there as well if anything was to go wrong. So it's all just hidden away. It's not taking up your valuable storage space, so that you can live comfortably on the road. Like, that idea alone from Zone is just another reason why we love them and why we love what they're doing in their caravans. As they say, they're in a zone of their own, and that in itself is a zone of their own. Like, no one else is doing anything like that, and they probably will start now once they start seeing these in the zones. But it's just, yeah, really good on them. So we're down the back of the caravan. This is our bunk area. The biggest change for us is obviously having 2 bunks and not 3. Oh my god. The coolest thing about this is the advantage that Jada now has. So Jada could not sit in her bunk. She used to she'd be in there and she'd have to sit like this because there was 3 bunks, and she's grown so much that it just didn't work for her. However, you and I can sit in here now. So Jada is like over the moon. Over the moon. I think as well, this is kind of their space and her place to hang out, her place to read, her place to colour, do what she wants. Like, this is her zone, and to be able to have one that she can actually be comfortable in, I think helps her on the road. So I think in a way, I wouldn't say it was getting her down, but not being able to have a space that was really usable for her wasn't in her benefit. I don't really know how else to put that. She's much happier in this bunk anyway than what she was in her last one. So the other cool thing about this box here that you see at the back, this is one that we used in the old van. This used to be her toy box, and Jack used to have one in his bed as well, and that's where all of their toys went. You pack them all in there, chuck the lid on, and it was done. Now they've actually got an overhead cupboard. So up here, I don't know what Jada's looks like. Oh, it's not too bad. So up here in both bunks, they've got a toy selection up there. So that's their toy area to put whatever they want in there. That's all of their books, toys, colouring, you know, all the things that they want. That's a dedicated storage area for that. And I think it's really important that both the kids have that space, you know, and it gives them somewhere to put their things, and, you know, you can still give them birthday presents and they've got somewhere that's their own. At the moment, we're at the end of term 3. This week coming is the last week of term 3. And from next term, she's actually going to the Mount Isa School of the Air. You guys have always asked me to do more around schooling, and part of the reason that I haven't is because Jada really struggles to focus when there's so many things going on around her. So if we try and film her doing schooling, I almost guarantee she's not going to do schooling. But she said that she'd like to do more of that. So we're going to try and show you more of that with the Mount Isa School of the Air. There's so much confusion around homeschooling, distance education, paper-based, online-based, and what's what. So I really want to show you a bit more of that. But that's her school box for now. And I think that's probably just the way we'll keep it, because it's something I can bring out and bring to the table. We can use it and then put back up there. And she's not long enough yet that it matters, in a sense. The other thing in the beds is that they've got Sirocco fans. So they've both got their own Sirocco fan in each level. Jack really enjoyed having a fan in his bed, especially when it was hot. I think he likes the white noise from it as well. So the old one used to be a bit more noisy. He hasn't quite figured out that this one does the same thing. So he doesn't use it much, but Jada's got it on every single night. She's super happy. So down this end, this is kind of our laundry, I guess. This top cabinet is our linen. So you might be thinking, what? There's really not much. And there's really not. We've got beach towels, tea towels, an extra couple of cloths. We've started using like these guys. These are actually reusable kitchen cloths. So everything in here is our linen, basically. And my peg basket. on an extra doTERRA. But that's it. In the last van, we had an extra set of sheets and doona cover for ourselves. We also had extras for Jack, just in case he wet the bed and that. I've opted not to do that this time. I'm not sure how that's going to go or whether I'll be happy with that choice just yet. If we need them, I'll definitely put them underneath our bed because we have so much room there. But this is all the things that I need more regularly, I guess, like cleaning and stuff like that. The washing machine is a 2.5 litre Kamek front loader. It's run on 240. It's funny, like it looks really small, but we went from a 4.5 kilo to 2.5 kilo, and I was actually really surprised at just how much I could fit in here. So I'm excited to use this a bit more and tell you a bit more about that. My understanding is per load it's 19 litres. So technically we've got 3 80-litre tanks. You know, if we had a tank left before we leave a free camp, I could do 4 loads of washing, and that's like a 10 kilo wash. So that's no different to doing 1 load at home. So we'll see how we go. I don't know enough about this yet to tell you. Also down here on this bench area is the button for our water heater. It's as simple as just switch on and off. There's no timer functions on it. You just turn it on when you arrive and leave it on, and make sure you turn it off when you leave a location. It does 60 degrees and 70 degrees. We've only been running 60 degrees and it's hot. Like, you don't need, I don't actually know why people might need 70 degrees. Like, there must be some reason. But anyway, 60 degrees, we run it on that. It's completely gas. You do have the option to put it on 240 as well. So they've put a switch under here where the hot water is. I'll show you in a second. And you can run it on 240 when you're there. But don't do that off grid because you'll use all of your power. So under here is our service compartment, I guess. And this is for all water related things. So basically we've got access to all of our tanks and the washing machine, so we can turn the water on and off to them. There's the water pump. There's a filter, an inline filter, so everything that comes through the van will go through this filter before it even goes into your tanks. And then down here is the water heater, which is a 14 litre gas combustible tank. It's very similar to what we had before. You must have just switched on. It's very similar to what we had before. However, the other one also did room heating, but we don't need that now because we've gone for the diesel heater. So so far I can't fault it. We've been able to all have showers and have consistent hot water with no issues whatsoever. In the far corner there as well, there is a 240 switch. So if you go on mains, you don't have to use gas for your hot water. You can use power, but as Zone recommended, don't use that unless you're actually on 240 because you're just going to chew through your batteries. Anything that's heating is going to chew through your batteries. So that's that. And then above, this is part of Jada's wardrobe. So it's a bit of a pigsty at the moment. Jada doesn't fold her clothes as well as I would like her to, but yeah, so she's got clothes in here, and then she's also got clothes in this bottom drawer underneath me. So that's Jada's wardrobe. She's got heaps of room. She's got everything she wanted in here. I actually felt like we were going to have to limit the kids' clothes and that we wouldn't have enough room here, but these drawers do hold more than you think they're going to. So that's Jada's. And then with Jack's one, because he's a little bit smaller, I'll show you quickly. This drawer here is over the wheel arch, so it's slightly shorter, and then a full-size drawer. But again, that's his whole wardrobe. Absolutely everything he owned from the last caravan in his 3 little shelves that we had in the back cupboards. So he's been able to have everything in there just the same as he did before. And these are again all soft closed drawers, so they've, yeah, I can't fault them so far. The kids haven't complained, or well, not that Jack would complain, but Jada hasn't complained so far. She seems to feel she has enough space, and we haven't had to cull any clothes. That's a really good start. Welcome to the bathroom. So I really love, we've got a door there. It's very different. We had a sliding one before. I like having a door though. It's really cool. It's really light. It closes well. Can't complain. But this is our bathroom area. So this is our sink. This here is like a fusion lock and toiletries heaven in a sense. So our little toothbrush holders, we used to use them in the old van. This is a new addition. It's just a little mirror. I like using these because when you get up close, you can see lots of detail. You know, us girls, we like having mirrors. And this is a fusion lock shelf. So that's kind of our main bathroom area. Where I'm sitting right now, I never thought that anyone on YouTube would ever see me sit here, but this is our toilet. So we've actually opted to go with a composting toilet now. This is brand new, and Initially, I was a little concerned. It's a standard option in Zone, so they have them in all of their vans regardless. We've been using it for, how long would you say, babe?
A couple of weeks.
2 weeks? About 2 weeks. And we've obviously got like a wee cartridge that you empty, so you can pour that anywhere on a tree or in a toilet, wherever you want. And then you've got your poo cartridge bit as well. And the poo one, I've been told, can go up to 4 months. So we filled that with peat and we're using it, and it's still going 2 weeks later, and there's no smell, and it's perfect. So I'm really, really loving it. We're going to go into detail about this after we've done an empty and understand like the whole process, and we'll show you what's involved. So if this is something that you're considering doing, you can consider that and know the information, because I just don't think enough people talk about that openly. I mean, it's no different to when we used to go to do the cartridge disposals and stuff. People don't talk about that. So yeah. Composting toilet, that's us going forward. In here in the bathroom around this corner, we've actually got towel hooks in place, so we've got our towels up there. There is a toilet roll holder that was already installed in the van. That one's not a fusion lock, it's a permanent fixture. And then you've got a really good sized mirror as well, so I'm really happy with everything the way it's laid out. We've added a couple of extra fusion lock hooks as well, so we've got 2 on the back of the doors for the kids' towels, and we've also got another one in here for a hand towel. So we like to have all our towels in the bathroom and out of the way. When the weather's cold, you can obviously go hang them outside, but from a travel perspective, I don't want to lay them on the beds and have them all over the place. It's really nice to have the dedicated towel hook, so everyone's got their own towel and, you know, their own space in a sense. Up above us here, we do have overhead storage, so hopefully you can see in there. At the moment, carrying around a hair straightener and a hair dryer that I hardly ever use, as you can see. And extra toiletries and things. So again, we've just got so much space, and I just don't know where to put things. Like in the last van, everything was chockers, and now it's like, oh, where should I put it? The rest of our stuff for the bathroom is actually down here underneath the sink, and most of our belongings are down here. Jada's got her own bag, things like toenail clippers, nail files and things, hairbrushes. And then down the bottom here, these storage containers, these I actually found from Bunnings. And I measured out the cupboard, and I couldn't believe how well they fit. So where they sit right now is the depth of the cupboard. So if I bring it out, that's the depth of the cupboard. And it's just given me the opportunity to split up all of our belongings and put them into different containers and make them easily accessible. But overall, this bathroom in general, I'm actually really, really happy with it. I'm so much more happy with it than the previous one, and I didn't really know how I was going to feel about it. I think the bathroom is one of those spaces that it is quite small and you've got to do a lot with it, and it was like, oh, will we have room? But between the overhead cupboards and down here as well, there's just, yeah, it's working really, really well. So we're in the shower. I'll start with the roof. We've got a rain sensing hatch in here, so you can have that on. We leave this on all the time. Again, I just want this to stay nice and dry, because otherwise you end up with mold and all those issues. So having that open and just drawing all that extra moisture out is the best thing to do. Being a rain sensing hatch, of course, if it does rain, it's going to close itself, so that's perfect. We've gone with all the black fixtures and fittings again, like that's through the whole van. I'm really loving the black look. I think it looks really cool. And another down here, fusion lock. So in here we've just got all our accessories and things, and our puffs, and these being hung up by hangers from Bunnings. The other thing I have in here is a toiletries mirror again. So I just like having these. Like if you wash your face and you want to see what you're doing, and you know, being in a caravan, it's all about saving water and doing it the best way possible. It's really handy to have mirrors around like that, so you can just do things as you go and save your water basically. And you're probably wondering where all our soap and stuff is. So the only permanent fixture that we've put into this whole caravan, it's out of sight, but I'm going to put a little picture in, is on this side of the shower. So we've got a permanent fixture, silicone glue, 3M taped in thing that has all of our body wash, conditioner and shampoo in it as well. So it's no longer something that I have to put into a basket and put away and make sure that they don't roll around on the ground. So it's just forever on the wall, and it's as simple as just pulling them off and refilling them and putting them back on again. So that's been a really, really good addition so far. I'm loving having that there. We're getting into the last things of the caravan here. Near the front door again, we've got a control panel down here, which is for all of our airbag system, Chris's favorite thing in the world. So we've got, you know, obviously left and right side, your power on, You can drain your tanks. There's an auto leveling. I won't do it at the moment because we've got stabilized legs down, but you can switch these down and it will auto level it for you, so it's at your ride height while you're driving. And when you're on the upwards motion, you're actually manual, so you can do it yourself. Down the bottom here, there is actually an air intake point, which is inside, which is really handy, especially if you want to do some cleaning. Say you were to go somewhere that was really dusty, you could use an air hose in here and clean everything out and get all that dust and grime out without wetting it and like making it stick everywhere. So you can use an air hose for that. There is an air point outside as well for doing your tires, so it's easy access. You could have your whole caravan closed up and still be able to do that and access this system. Here we've just got like some lighting switches basically, and this also does your outdoor lighting. So you've got white light and an orange light outside on the front, as well as additional lighting over the top of the tunnel boot, but that one you control by the tunnel boot. Finally, there's also this Fusion sound system here. So we pretty much consistently have it connected on Bluetooth to our iPod, and then we use that for music. We try not to run it from our phones because otherwise you get text messages and notifications and interrupts with everything. So we have an iPod that we always have set up with the Bluetooth going on, music in here. It's coming from under the bench. It still sounds amazing in here. You can hear it outside. This is by far 10 times better than the system we had before for music. So super, super happy with this. And you can actually use it from your phone as well. So not that we've done much of that so far because this panel is so easy to access where it is, whether you're inside or outside. But yeah, Fusion, rating it. Let's go upstairs and have a look at the Redarc system. All right, so we're getting to the heart of the caravan. So as we talked about earlier, we've got 600 amp hours of lithium battery power. We also have 1,060 watts of solar on the roof over the 8 panels that are up there. We also have a 3,000 watt inverter, and then all of that links back to the Redarc Red Vision. So behind the fridge, you would have seen there was a BMS 30 in there, which is where our car power comes through. Our solar is also split so that 30 amps at any time can go through the BMS 30. There is the Red Vision Manager in there as well, and then there's a 50 amp DC to DC charger where the remainder of the solar goes to. So at any time we can get up to 80 amps through of our solar in perfect weather conditions, of course. This is new technology for Zone. So Zone used to run the C-Zone system along with Enerdrive batteries. They had been doing that for years, and they've chosen to move away from that because they've learned a lot about C-Zone and the installation process and all the modules throughout the caravan. So if you actually break down a caravan that has a C-Zone setup in it, there are so many modules behind all of your counters and so many different wires to make everything talk to each other. And the Redarc Red Vision is a lot simpler. Not to mention as well, they're also an Australian company and Australian made, and no one else can say that. So I really like that Zone's moved across to Redarc. We really like to promote Australian businesses and Australian brands, and this has given us the opportunity just to add another one to our list. So we're super excited. So I want to show you a little bit about how this Red Vision system works. So it's really simple. There's buttons that take you all the way around. You've got controls on here for all your different lighting. So you've got your vanity, your roof lighting, for example. And then over here we've got water, Sirocco fans, roof fans. It also shows you where your battery's at, how long until you're charged, or if you're discharging, there's a little red arrow there as well. And then you've got your water tank. So the cool thing about this too, it actually shows you your grey water tank. Our old van, we could never see our grey water, so you'd be at a national park or something and you just start hearing glugging, or you'd hear it running outside and you know you're full then. So that's really handy to have. Then when you go across to a different screen here, this actually shows you all your solar as well. From the manager, it's actually putting in, 33.6 amps at the moment. We've seen this go up past 50 at times. Sometimes it's down by about 10. Look, it's up at 45 now. The sun's in and out at the moment, so it's a very overcast day. But basically it tells you in here as well what your wattage is that you're getting from the sun. So you've got 460 odd watts at the moment coming in. And the battery details, so the temperature and the voltage. So that's really cool. But then the other awesome thing that they've got about this system is that you have an app on your phone. So this is real time and it reflects what's going on in the van. So you can see all the same sort of things. So you've got your battery here, your grey water tanks, your voltage, where it's coming from. So it's coming from solar, and temperatures as well within your cabinets. And then in here, you've got your control. So this is all your lighting and the same thing. So you'll see what I mean? It's very real time. There's no delays with anything at all. So that's yeah, it's been super handy. We'll be laying in bed or something and it's like, oh, I've got to put the bathroom light on. And it's just on. It's really, really cool. So this is just like game changer for us. We've really enjoyed it. I love that we can be anywhere around the van and control everything going on and look at it. Basically, in our old Caravan, we had EnerDrive batteries and a BMS 30 from Redarc, and we couldn't fault the BMS. However, we couldn't access the information easily. The only thing we could really go off was the EnerDrive app, which didn't really tell you much at the time because the systems didn't work together. So having an all-round Redarc system with this Red Vision so we can actually access the information about our setup, it is just awesome. We are both super pumped about this.
Well, there you have it. Part 2, interior of the brand new van. I hope you guys really enjoyed it. And I feel like we covered a lot of detail, but like any other video, there's always so much in here to show you.
I reckon you'll have questions still.
Yeah, if there's anything that you want to know, or if something that we didn't cover, or there's something there, feel free to throw something in the comments below, or even send us a few messages through the socials, and we'll try and get back to you with as much information as possible.
We will be showing you other things throughout our series as well, and just how we use the inverter cooktops and, you know, different things about the van and how it like works into our lifestyle. And if there's things as well that you want to know about the outside of the van, we do have an episode with all of the outside tours. So just, I think it's over on this corner or maybe this corner. I'll put a link in. If not, it'll also be in the description below, so you can click on that and have a look at the outside tour of this caravan. And finally, I guess, if you want to join us on our travels and you want to see what we get up to, make sure you subscribe, like this video because it really helps us out, and drop those comments below. So if you have anything you want to know, pop it in there. We're on top of it. We will get back to you and give you some feedback.
This is basically just a really quick summary and overview of the actual van itself, and then we'll touch on more details about obviously the things that we're using to make our life a little bit easier on the road. So we'll definitely touch on that down the track. And yeah, again, I hope you enjoyed that. You got part 1, now part 2, and yeah. It's
been taking us so long. Look, it's nighttime outside.
It's literally nighttime. I think it's been about 3 hours or something. So
yeah, to get this out. So I hope you enjoyed it.
It's crazy how much time and effort goes into something that seems so simple, but there's actually so much detail that goes into it. But yeah, anyway, enjoy guys.
We'll talk to you soon.
See ya.
So at this point, I'm about to take you in. Oh, I thought it was a green ant. That felt like one. So you can have your fly screen open and pin this back. Oh.
Bloopers!
Bloopers! Is that shaky or is that just me? I think it just means we can't move too much. Like.
Yeah.
There's 2 floors in the hole. There's 2 floors in the hole. Hopeless. Yes?
Yes.
Okay.
Oh my god.
That's my body weight.
It like had a bit of bend to it, but that's about it.
That's legit my body weight. That's so cool. Can you see that? No. It's fine, I'm talking to myself. This is for all the onboard air, which Chris mentioned. For all the onboard air, which Chris... Wow, I can't get that out.
Come on, Krish.
Krish.
Get out of here, Krish, and explain how to do this.
Come on, Krish.
Krish, where are you, Krish?
Oh. We've also got our winter bag, which just has all that. What the hell is going on with my voice? I can't speak. I smell fire. Take 3. And then finally, over in the corner here, can you still see me? There's actually an app, so you can control all my torches on. The other thing in the fan, Jack was a big fan of the fan. Oh, that's funny. Caught it. Am I in this?
You can be, but I wouldn't look at the camera too much.
Welcome to Big Oz Explorers. So it's like hard not to. Much nicer.
Far more appealing.
Oh, hang on.
It's on your app.
Hey legends, thanks for watching. We hope you enjoyed this week's episode. Please like, subscribe and tell your friends. If you need more of a Big Oz fix, head over to our website bigozexplorers.com for merch, information on our setup, places we've been, recipes, links to our socials and much more. We look forward to seeing you for a new adventure next week. Cheers guys.